Conn and Cook Q&A session. We're glad you're back with us. We hope you had a great weekend. Dr. Conn, the last time we were on the stage, it was at Lee Day Live. We were on we had a little studio set up, a little talk show. We had a great Lee Day Live weekend.
We sure did. And you're Cook and I'm Conn?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Okay, notice I'm not wearing glasses.
I know.
I decided you're not going to wear hair, I'm not going to wear glasses. You know, honestly. And honestly, you know, there's nothing I really want to look at. Because I can't see you, the students. That's who I care about.
That's right.
So by not wearing my glasses, then I can't see Phil Cook quite as clearly, which is really, on balance, a really good thing.
Very good.
I'm glad to see all of you guys today. Sorry we're a couple of minutes late coming on, but thanks for tuning in. Whether you're watching this at 2 o'clock on Monday, that's when we're doing it, or whether you're watching it at some later time, we're always glad to have you. Now, we continue to get questions coming in, and some of the same questions get asked over and over, but mostly we just want to stay in touch and make ourselves available to you. So a lot of you have emailed me as we've gone along, or you've sent questions to studentfeedback@leeuniversity.edu, or you find some other way to ask questions. The main thing is we want you to talk to us, talk to us, talk to us. We're sitting here on campus, the loneliest place in the world, a college campus with no college students. But I'm coming into work, washing my hands, staying 6 feet away from everybody, using my elbow when I cough, you know, all those things I'm supposed to do. I'm staying safe and healthy, and I hope you're doing the very same. So hope you're doing well out there. And we just want to come on camera and take your questions, and we'll keep doing this as long as you want to watch. So, okay, Phil.
Yeah, and the engagement's been great, Dr. Conn. We've had the watching on both live stream at livestream.com/LeeU, and also, of course, Facebook Live. The viewership's been good, so we appreciate you doing that. We had a great Lee Day Live students over the weekend, so go back and check out some of that content. That website is leeday.live, and you can get in there and see more than 50 pieces of content that we think will make you even more proud to be a Lee student. So check that out over the weekend. Dr. Conn, there have been 5 kind of general ideas we've been visiting every week. So we want to go back and hit those real quickly and talk about them. First on the list is summer school. So we've announced that we're going to do May Zoom classes, but we want to give an update of where we stand on our summer school plans for May and moving forward.
Sure. Summer school is on. 3 sessions of summer school, 4 weeks each. The first one starts May 10, I guess. 10 or 11.
Yes, sir.
And goes to the first week of June. And then there's one for June and one for July. So summer school comes in short, bite-sized pieces. 4 weeks. You go to class every day for 2 hours. It's pretty intense, but the schedule works really great for a lot of people. And we have lots of people signed up for summer school, and we want you to think about that option. If you are not having to go to a job during that period, or you otherwise are occupied, you know, even if you haven't thought about going to summer school, this might be a good time to take one of those core courses and get it out of your way. It might be a good time to take a course that you were just interested in. So think about making summer school part of your plans. And I was just looking over, we were in a meeting today, Phil,
yes. Yep.
in which we were going over the summer school schedule, and we got some terrific summer school classes. And you know what? I'm going to add one.
Let's hear the big announcement. Here it comes.
Add a summer school class. I'm going to teach a introductory psychology class. Had some of you ask, well, are you going to be teaching this fall? And I said, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to be teaching this fall. So let me say this. I'm going to jump into summer school, and I'm going to teach a introduction to general psychology, Psychology 200. So if you haven't had that course yet, why don't you jump on there and take it with us? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick a handful of the best psychology teachers I know. I'm going to lead the team, and we're going to teach this course on a team teaching basis. So it's not on your schedule, but we'll be letting you know. Introduction to General Psychology. I think it's called something like Understanding Human Behavior.
Right.
I think that's the official title of the course. It's just Intro to General Psychology. Okay, I want to jump in there. I want to get into this Zoom thing with you and add that to your schedule. Otherwise, the summer schedule looks good. And we think it's going to be a good way for you to spend some time in May, June, or July.
So good. If you haven't taken that psych class, this is a good opportunity for you to have it with Dr. Conn. Been in some meetings with President Conn, and seeing him on Zoom is cool. You're right there up and close, so check that out and make sure you get signed up for that. So, Dr. Conn, the other question that's on students' mind are refunds. So we've made an announcement about that before, but where do we stand today on our refund process?
We are doing student refunds for room and board, and I told you we would try to get those rolling out by April 15. That was last week, and we are just now starting. So we're running a few days behind. And the refunds is a little more complicated than we had thought because there's so many different kinds of students and their financial aid packages are organized so many different ways. But for the most part, we have a pretty basic and pretty simple, and I think quite a student-friendly formula, and that's if you had a food plan for this semester, or if you had student housing for this semester, we're going to calculate 40% of what you paid to give you in the form of a refund. Now, what we're starting with is those of you who have a balance on your school bill. This will come as a credit where you'll get information that your school bill has been credited by that amount. If your school bill is all paid off, then it will come to you simply in the form of a check. And obviously, students already are saying, why don't we just pay that forward for fall semester? We'd love for you to do that, of course. So let's say, hypothetically, you're getting $1,000 back in refunds, and let's say you've still got a $500 school bill, then we would credit your school bill, that brings you to zero, and then if you want the next $500 credited as an advance payment on your fall fees, then we'll do that. If you prefer, we'll send you a check for the $500. But we're trying to be fair with students, not just fair. We're trying to be positive. We want to do this right. When COVID-19 is all over and coronavirus is just a word in my memory, then we want to know here at Lee we did right by our students. That's our primary, number one guiding principle. We're going to treat you right. We're going to do right by you. So we are a few days behind the curve as far as getting that actually done as a practical matter, but yeah, we're still on for that student refunds as we described it.
Excellent. Students, you might be having these conversations with your parents. You might have an idea what to do with that credit. Your parents might have an idea. In our home, we know what we're going to do with that, and that's going to be paid forward so that our son can have a good head start to next fall, and perhaps that's something you'll be doing as well. So, Dr. Conn, we have students still on campus. Not a lot of students left staying on campus, but there are a few students we haven't heard from. So an update regarding housing and getting checked out of the residence halls for our students that have been on campus.
Yeah. Well, we've been trying to help students get home if they possibly could. And so we have a very small number of students still actually in our dorms and campus housing, about 75 or so. Only fewer than 40 of those are actually in the traditional dorms. But when you include the apartments and the townhomes, about 75 students still on campus. That's kind of the irreducible core of international students, students who come from a long way away, and in several cases, students who have situations back home, whether they have a health situation with their parents or siblings, or for some reason it's just better for them not to go home. So I've said from the very beginning, we're not going to kick these kids out, and we're going to make room for them, and we're going to find a way to feed them. So those students are still with us. And we are feeding them through a special catering. Matter of fact, I had lunch today. I had their lunch today, and it was quite good, I must say. Very good, in fact. So that's what we're doing. Now, for the far larger number of students, we're in the dorms when you left us to go home for spring break. Man, what a jolt that was. It's like you left expecting to go off for a week, either to travel someplace or to go home, and you thought you would be back in 8 to 10 days, and instead you never got back. What a bummer. You know, I really, my heart goes out to you because I know how tough this is on me, not seeing you and having everything just sort of cut off just like that. But I know it's twice that bad for you. You left here, you know, took some clothes home for spring break, and now you're still there. So we really want to work with you to help you get your stuff out of the dorms and get your life all in one place. What we're down to, Phil, is we're down to about 700 students who have not yet moved their stuff out of the dorm. Out of those, 400, you know, round numbers here, about 400 of you have made appointments to come back and clean out your dorm room and take your stuff home. And we're managing those students as you come back, trying to be as helpful to you as we can. If you're one of those students who has an appointment for sometime by the end of April or first week of May, and you're running into trouble, travel problems, transportation problems, or any other kind of problems, and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to actually keep that date with us, no sweat. Just communicate with your RD and say, hey, I can't make it by April the 27th like I plan to come. Can I have an alternate date, a later date? But then, you know, there's this other group of about 300 students that we haven't heard from yet. We really want to hear from you. So if you're a student, you're checked into the dorm, your stuff is in the dorm, you've been living in the dorm up until this crisis occurred, and you haven't communicated with your RD, please do that. If you can't get through to your RD, call the office of the Vice President, Dr. Mike Hayes, his staff, and there'll always be people around either in the Res Life and Housing office or in his office, and let us hear from you. That's the main thing. Even if you don't know right now how you're going to get here or when you're going to get here, we really do need to hear from you so we know what to expect and so we know how we can help you. So that's where we are on the dorms.
Great. And again, Dr. Conn mentioned Mike Hayes, Jared Russell, Morgan Adams, and Chris Gates. All the folks in Res Life are eager to hear from you to make sure we serve you well. Dr. Conn, we announced this already, but it's a follow-up to this question, the withdrawal pass, no-fail policy. A couple of students said, Dr. Conn, how's that going to affect my GPAs? How should I approach that? What's your advice to students about whether they should take the grade or take the pass-fail grade?
Okay, that's a good question, and it's a big decision for you to make, but the main thing is you get to make the decision. The faculty has all agreed to this, and everybody's cool. We're all on the same page here. So here's what happens. You stay in that Zoom class, do the work, go to class for heaven's sake, be registered as being present in that class, and when you get to the end of the semester, in the last 3 or 4 days of the semester, the faculty member will assign a grade. It will be the old-fashioned grades, A, B, C, D, F, that kind of grade. Then you're going to have a period of a few days in which you can choose to either take that grade or take a pass or a withdrew. In a way, there's no such thing as a fail.
Right.
I think the only way you could fail a class this semester is just to drop out of sight and not show up and not communicate. So you either get a pass or a W. Okay, if you take a pass or a W, that does not affect your grade point average positively or negatively. It's just not part of the calculation. Now, for most of you, you'll do some of your classes with a grade. So let's say you're taking a course, you're doing great in it, you've got an A, and then you've got these other courses that you're going to take the pass. How will that affect your grade point average? If it's a 3-point A, then it'll be calculated into your overall grade point average, and it will boost your overall grade point average. Right. You know, if you decide to take the grade and it's a C, and that C is lower than your grade point average, it will depress your grade point average. So only those courses in which you choose to take a letter grade will it have any effect at all on your grade point average. Those courses that you choose to take a pass or a withdrew will have no effect at all on your grade point average.
Excellent. Let me just say a quick word out there to international students or athletes, or some of you might be on the edge in terms of financial aid. If you think, should I withdraw from this class or not, be sure to reach out to financial aid and our records office to make sure that you're doing the right thing as you make those decisions. In the financial aid vein, Dr. Conn, students have been asking, okay, if my pass or fail grade, how will it affect institutional scholarships? In particular, there are some still Centennial Gold and Silver Scholars out there, the Honor Scholarship recipients for those coming back next year. We talked just before this, we've got an announcement to make there that's really going to be, I think, good news for students.
Yeah, well, before we talk about that, let me talk about the other part of it, which is if you're an athlete and you've got eligibility requirements to meet, or if you're a nursing major
Yes.
and you've got to stay on your sequence of courses to head toward completion and taking the NCLEX, or if a teacher ed student and you're governed by, not just by Lee's rules, but by the certification rules of the Department of Education, if you're in those kinds of classes, or if you're in any kind of class in which the course you're taking is a prerequisite for the next course you're supposed to take, then be sure to talk to your professor or your advisor, one or the other. And the professor will probably know how that course grade factors into these special situations. And if you might prefer to talk to your advisor. How do you get a hold of your advisor? Send your advisor an email. And those advisors are standing by to talk with you about the implications. So as you get toward the end of this Zoom semester, you want to make smart choices. You want to make choices that work for you, not against you. So if you're in a specialized category where there's a set of rules governing your forward progress toward a nursing degree, an education degree, your future eligibility in athletics or so on, then be sure to talk with your advisor about that before you make the decision to take the grade or the pass-fail.
Good, that's great. I'm glad you did that because that's a good point to make for us. So about the scholarships, so the Centennial Gold, Silver, maybe even Honor Scholarship recipients, we're talking about if you take a lower grade or not, how will it affect scholarships? And we're talking about, look, we're going to make another decision, students, that's going to be the benefit of you, and that's what we're talking about before the meeting.
Okay, did you notice how smoothly Phil did that? He asked me the question, I ignored the question, see? And I talked about what I really wanted to talk about. And then when I go back to Phil for the next question, no, he goes right back to that same question.
This is a little different than the Q&As with the President of the United States right now. These are much different Q&As. This is softball. Go get them, right? Here we go.
I'm not even going to comment on that. Hey, okay, you want an answer to that question? I'll give you an answer to that question. How does your new GPA affect your scholarship eligibility, especially for Centennial Scholars, Honor Scholars, or any other way in which your GPA determines whether or not you qualify for a scholarship? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a rule in which this can help you, but it cannot hurt you. All right? So let's say you go in there and take 15 hours and you wind up with 2.8 if you took your grades, but that 2.8 will drop you below the threshold you need to keep your Centennial Scholarship, or will keep you from qualifying for an Honor Scholarship, or any other scholarship where there's a certain grade point average that's required to keep that scholarship. Here's what we're going to do. If you find yourself in a situation in which your performance this semester, in the semester of Zoom, the coronavirus semester, if you find that your grade point average drops you below a scholarship threshold, we're going to just go back to your previous GPA in December that qualified you. So we're saying, relax, it can't cost you the scholarship. But you say, well, but that's not me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get in there and get 9 hours of A's. It's going to qualify me for the scholarship. Do I still have to go back to my December GPA? No. Good. If you can help yourself with this new emergency grading policy, we'll count it. If you're going to hurt yourself in terms of scholarships, we won't count it. So I hope some of you will make good decisions and actually get a boost out of this, but I can guarantee you we won't penalize you for whatever happens in the classroom this semester in respect to our own scholarships for which you qualify.
Excellent. Another great piece of news for you and returning students as you're coming back. So can only help, it cannot hurt for spring 2020. Thank you, Dr. Conn. One last issue we've been covering throughout the whole Q&As. commencement. We've announced that we're going to do August 1st, or this 3-day lead up to it. So we're still in the multi-day event. But students are asking questions about caps and gowns, diplomas. Will they be mailed to us? Also, am I walking in May? Do I have my degree in May? Diploma, transcript, questions surrounding commencement. So talk a little bit about that as we go through this.
Yeah, we're hearing from a lot of seniors. Hey, seniors, you're on my mind, you're on my heart, you're my guys, because you're in the class of 2020, and you know, you got a tough set of circumstances. You know, not being able to come back on this campus and say goodbye to all your friends and your teachers and everything you've enjoyed, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. I wish I could shield you, shelter you some way from that disappointment, but of course I can't do that. So all we can do is plan for that August 1st commencement, number one. Number two, pray that nothing worse will happen that keep us from having that August 1st commencement. That's all in the hands of the Lord, and you know, circumstances will dictate that. But right now, we're going full steam ahead to plan for a big, wonderful commencement, August 1st, and the days leading up to it. In planning for that, then the question would be, well, what do we do about the diplomas? Some of you, a handful of people have said, well, I'm not going to be able to come back on August 1st, or even if I am, I'm going to be applying for a job. I'd like to go ahead and get my diploma if I actually qualify for it on August 9th. And is it August 9th or 8th? What's commencement day? I'm sorry, May.
I think it's May. I think it's May 9th.
I think it's May 9th. But whatever the regular commencement day is, May 9th, that day you become a college graduate.
Yes.
Let me say it again. You become a college graduate the first week of May, not August 1st. Now, there's a difference in a diploma and a degree. You know, a college degree is something you've earned, and you become a college graduate the first week of May. A diploma is a piece of paper that you can frame and hang on your wall or otherwise keep that shows the world you earned the degree. But don't get confused between the diploma and the degree. So most of you, I hope, God willing, will wait and come August 1st, in which case we'll give you your diploma that shows you earned a degree back in May. Some of you would prefer to go ahead and get that diploma now. Well, those diplomas are already under, they're way in advance. So we will have a diploma for you, and if you'd like to get your diploma through the mail in the second week of May, we can arrange that. We've had a few people who have asked, not many, but 2 or 3 people who have said, well, we want to take pictures in our cap and gown. Could we go ahead, could you mail us a cap and gown so we could take pictures? Sure, we can do that. We've had a couple of people ask about the Bibles, although
Yes.
we really haven't discussed that yet. So mostly what you do when you come to commencement, you get a cap and gown, which you keep forever. You get a diploma, which shows you earned a degree. And you get a Bible from me, which is an important tradition here at Lee University. So the question of, do you want those 3 things early? That is, do you want them when you actually earn the degree? We can arrange it if you do. Or will you wait till August 1st and we give you that when you come? So we're open to hearing from individual students on that. The main thing is, don't worry, when will I become a college graduate? If you meet all the requirements for graduation, then on May 9th, you'll be a college graduate. And on August 1st, we'll celebrate it together.
Excellent. A couple students asked questions this week. One said, Dr. Conn, what about a balloon release at graduation when we do that? A very specific idea. You said, how can we celebrate? Some student wants to know, can we do a big balloon release at commencement?
You know, I asked you to help us be creative, and that's one of the creative ideas. The answer, ask, can we do a balloon release? We can do anything.
Yeah.
So keep giving us those ideas. That's one idea. We're going to put it over there in the pot of good ideas, and we'll figure out what to do. When we get around to July 30th, 31st, and August 1st, we're going to be creative. We will have the commissioning service, as we always do, during which time you'll be getting Bibles, and we'll be having commencement August 1st, which you'll be getting your diplomas, and we'll do the whole thing. The plan right now is for it to be outside on the quad by the tower. It's usually a gorgeous event out there. We hope for good weather we can do that. We're thinking of other creative ideas. Maybe we would have special events for those of you in each different department or in each different school. So we're going to have the big event together, but then we might have other satellite events. We might have a big party on the Thursday night. We normally don't do anything on Thursday night, and just try to have a big party where everybody can come see one another and hug necks and get ready for the weekend. But send us your ideas. Somebody says a balloon release. All right, we got that in our pot of ideas. What other things do you think might be added to our traditional commencement activities for that commencement, which will be certainly without doubt the most joyful, exciting, memorable commencement we've ever had in the history of this university?
Excellent, for a lot of reasons, a whole lot of reasons, including it being President Conn's last as president. So that's another reason for us to celebrate as well. Another idea, Dr. Conn, I don't know if you were here for the first Q&A we had, but in that first Q&A we talked about T-shirts, because we'll do T-shirts at least. So the commemorative T-shirt idea, one student said maybe one for seniors and then maybe one for the rest of us. So we're even open to the T-shirt idea. We're still working on that.
Hey, why don't we have a T-shirt idea contest?
There we go.
All right, we just, this is the way presidents do. They have ideas, they hand them over to other people. Let's have a contest. The best idea for a T-shirt. This is not just for seniors, this is for everybody. A T-shirt that remembers this spring and summer we'll never forget. All right, give me your ideas. We've seen a couple of ideas.
Yeah,
they've been
coming in, that's right.
Yeah, some of them are serious, some of them are funny, some of them are hard to even understand.
That's true, yes sir.
You got a T-shirt idea, we'll get the best idea. We'll recognize whoever got the best idea. We'll make a T-shirt for everybody that wants one, sure. Hey, free pizza, free T-shirts. They ought to put it in the Lee logo somewhere, education, T-shirts, pizza. Yeah,
with the flame in there too, all of that together, so great. Couple more things and then we'll get you out to finish the rest of your Monday afternoon. Dr. Conn, last Q&A, you asked about, do we continue chapel into April? We had a few students respond to us, but we're eager to hear from more of them. Do we want to keep chapel going into the summer?
We will if you want it, and the question of when do we schedule it and how many of them do we have, we're open to your suggestions. If we think enough students are out there who want this, then of course we'll do it. We want to stay in touch with you. That's the main thing. You feel a little disconnected, I would think, from Lee. Well, we at Lee feel disconnected from you too. So if things will continue to connect us together, we're all for it. So let us know. You got to talk to us. And tell us, yeah, I'd like to have chapel. No, let's have one a week. Let's have one every day. Let's have one a month. Tell us your ideas. In the meantime, we have 3 more chapels left for this semester. The Love Your Mama Chapel, Moving On Up Chapel, that's when freshmen officially become sophomores. That's tomorrow. And then on Thursday and next Tuesday, Senior Stories Chapels. We normally just have one of these, but we're going to have 2 of these. 3 seniors on each of those 2 chapels will tell their stories, and that's always really enjoyable.
Good, and don't forget, you can go back and check out all this content on the live stream site, which is livestream.com/LeeU. Also on all these Facebook Lives. Dr. Conn began a lot of good activity on these, including the prayer service. We hope you had a chance to go back and visit the prayer service, one of the most poignant and moving moments that we have seen at Lee in many years, when Dr. Conn and our faculty colleagues led us in prayer, and of course, the time when Dr. Conn finished the prayer at the end. It was a wonderful service. So go back and check all that out on Facebook Live. The videos are archived for you there, and then also livestream.com/LeeU. Dr. Conn, some parting comments before we go and to our students.
Sure. What can I say, guys? What a month it has been. My goodness. The whole world got turned upside down, didn't it? And when everything's all crazy, then you really do know what really counts. And this is sure not an original idea. I know you've thought of it one way or another many, many times in the last month, but you know, what counts is relationships. And when everything else is unreliable, then the one thing that matters is relationships. And what matters to us right now is our relationship with you. Lee University is all about serving our students, getting to know our students, really getting into the lives of our students. And that's the kind of president I've always wanted to be, and that's the kind of faculty member I've always wanted to be. And I can say that's also true of 500 or 600 of our staff and faculty that work with me. And you know, then there's one thing that's even more important than your relationship with us, and that's your relationship with God. So this is not chapel, and I don't want to preach to you, but I do want to say that God can work in this kind of situation to bring us closer to himself, and that's what he wants to do. I got to say, this has put me on my knees many times in the last month, and that's not a bad place to be. And if you allow this situation, in whatever way is natural to you, to bring you closer to God, if I allow it to bring me closer to God, then it'll automatically bring us closer to one another. And God will then find it so easy to work in us to bring the good out of this for us. So, you know I love you, and it's not just something I say. I think about you scattered all over the country and other countries. I think about you every day and every night. I'm so sorry that this is the way your semester has turned out, but I want to remind you that you get to write the end of the story. So I'm praying that you will rise to this challenge, and that we here at Lee will rise to this challenge, and let this be something that brings us closer to God and closer to one another. Amen.
Well, we hope to see you again very soon, but we know Lee will see you tomorrow at chapel on Tuesday and also Thursday. Have a great Monday.